Hey there, second grade. Today we are going to be working on lesson 8 of chapter 12. So if you would go ahead and turn to page 783. 783. Today we are going to be talking about area. And when we're talking about area, we're going to look at different shapes and talk about, well, how many different squares could we fit inside of that? And that's going to help us understand area. So today we're going to be looking at squares and rectangles as we start to talk about area. Go ahead and turn to the next page with me. And on this page, page 784 is where we're going to start today. On page 784, it says rectangles can be partitioned into equal-sized squares. You can count the squares to describe its size. So what they're actually trying to say here is partitioned is just another word for cut into pieces. So rectangles can be cut into pieces. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit for us. They can be cut into equal-sized squares. So we're going to cut them into pieces, but not just pieces. They need to be equal-sized squares. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. Is we've got our rectangle here is in purple. All right, and inside they've already cut it into these equal pieces. All right, so each one of these is a square. And today, for us to figure out the area, we're going to count how many squares we could put inside. So let's go ahead and count them up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so I'm going to write 8. And if you haven't got out your pencil already and are filling this in with me, please do so now. All right. Whenever I'm writing on the screen, I would love for you to use your pencil and go ahead and fill in these different parts with me, so that way we can practice together. So they cut up this rectangle for us. We counted how many squares there were, and that's how we find the area. So let's take a look at our next one. We've got a red rectangle here. All right, our red rectangle, and we're going to do the same thing. Let's count up how many squares are inside. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 squares inside of that red rectangle. All right, so this is what we're doing. We need to make sure when we put them inside, we've got the same size squares going inside. We don't want to mix those up. That's what we're counting inside of our different shapes. All right, so let's go ahead and jump down to number 1. It says count the squares and write how many squares make each rectangle. So for number 1, let's go ahead and count them up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10. That's a bad 10. There we go. 10 squares for number 1. All right. I want you to go ahead and try number 2 quickly. You don't have to pause your video. I just want you to go ahead and try it on your own, and then we're going to go over it together. So just quickly see if you can count them up for number 2. Then we'll do it together as well, and you can check your work. If you're still working on it, go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and start counting them now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Did you get 15 as well? I sure hope you did, because we're just counting up the number of squares inside. All right, let's go ahead and try out number 3. Go ahead and do that now. This is a square, and we're counting up how many squares are inside of there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Hope you were able to get 16 as well. Will you go ahead and pause the video in just a second? I want you to do number 4, 5, and 6, and then I'm going to go over those together with you. So pause your video here and do number 4, 5, and 6 on your own. All right, I hope you paused your video and did number 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to go over them right now. So for number 4, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 squares for number 4. For number 5, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There was 12, so our area is 12 squares. And then for number 6, again, hopefully you were able to already pause and do this, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we had 9 squares on that one for number 6. Okay, so the area is the number of these small squares that are all the same size, how many we can fit into each rectangle. Well, go ahead and turn the page with me to page 785. And this one's a little bit tricky, so it's a little different than the other videos we've done so far. But I'm going to have you go ahead and pause right now and count up how many squares are inside number 7 and number 8. Go ahead and do so now. Number 7 and number 8, go ahead. All right, I hope you were able to pause your video and do number 7 and number 8 on your own. I'm going to go ahead and go over them now. If you made a mistake, just make sure you correct it. It's not a big deal. We just want to make sure we correct those mistakes. For number 7, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we've got 12 squares. For number 8, all right, number 8, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are 6 squares for number 8. All right, so we're going to go down here. Now, number 9 and number 10 are a little tricky. All right, it says use the color tiles to cover each rectangle and write how many tiles were used. If we were in class right now, we would actually be doing that together. But I didn't send home any tiles, so I don't think we're going to be able to do this. So instead, I'm going to use the magic of our video editing to go ahead and show you the different colors right now. Boom, just like that, I've got our colored squares put on here, all right? So what I did was I just colored in the different squares that I put on there, and now we can go ahead and figure out how many squares we needed, because again, if we were in class, we would have our actual squares. So go ahead, pause your video right now. I want you to do number 9 and number 10. You're going to need to look at my screen to see how many I was able to put on there, but go ahead and answer number 9 and number 10 right now. All right, hopefully you were able to pause and do number 9 and number 10, but we're going to go ahead and go over them now. So if you didn't do it yet, go ahead and pause it and solve those two. So for number 9, how many colored tiles did I use? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, I hope you were able to get 8 tiles. So our area is 8 tiles. For number 10, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our area here was 5 tiles. And again, I hope you were able to get that. If not, check where your mistake was. Did you count something 2 times? Did you count something in a different way and miss one? Just make sure whenever we're doing these counting, we just want to go carefully through it. All right. Well, that is all that we're going to do for our guided and independent practice today. What I want you to do for homework is going to be on page 787. All right. And it's going to be counting up in the same way that we just did. And then on page 788, same thing. So we're just counting the different squares. If you want to color them in to help you, you can also do that. All right. But that is what you're going to work on today. And when we come back to school, again, we will collect all of the homework once we get back. Thanks for working so hard.